Good morning, good afternoon. Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Power of Knowing Forums. Join the CSU Talks, a LinkedIn Live event episode 189th today. And we are discussing on the topic of leadership 2.0, thriving in the chaos of U- VUCA world. To have this topic discussed, we have the honor of Mr. Pawan Verma, author of two books on leadership, a speaker, consultant, a leadership expert, and India Authors Award 2024. Without further ado, let's welcome our esteemed speaker to the podcast event. Sir, good
Hi,
evening. Good evening. Welcome to our podcast, sir. How are you, sir, today?
I'm fine, Prem. Good evening,
Good evening, sir.
and good
Sir,
evening, viewers.
a small intro about yourself and your journey, sir, that the audience will
Yeah,
take a
well,
bit.
let me tell you that I started my career in 1977 as a management trainee in LIC of India, Life Insurance Corporation of India. I grew up in the cadre to get into senior management of the company corporation, and thereafter, I was liberalization happened in 2001. So I was picked up by Reliance Industries to head their insurance company. So I was instrumental in launching both their life and general insurance companies. And thereafter, unfortunately, the split in the Reliance empire happened in 2005. So financial services went with Anil Ambani group, and I joined them.
Mm-hmm.
From there, I joined the Star Union Daiichi Life Insurance as chief operating officer. So that was the startup company, and Indo-Japan is a startup company. And we set up a state-of-the-art technology platform for the company and SOPs, which were newest in the industry, a state-of-the-art. I retired in 2013, and thereafter I have taken to writing. I have been writing earlier also. I have written for Times of India, Hindustan Times, Indian Express, Economic Times, and all that. That I had been writing during my career, but thereafter, as a professional writer, author, I took it up in 2013 and have written about a dozen books on various topics, mostly romance, on Amazon.
Okay.
And thereafter, I was persuaded to write a book on leadership by Jacko Publications. The book was The Age of the Imperfect Leader,
Mm-hmm.
and that was published ultimately by Rupa. And then my second book was The 10X Leader, Breaking the Rules of Conventional Leadership. And in between, I wrote two crime thrillers also. And having a professional speaker, so I have chaired the two ETF conferences at Hong Kong in successive years. I've been invited as speaker at the FST Financial Services Technology Seminar at Hong Kong, Macau, Kuala Lumpur, etc. I was the keynote speaker at the Osmania University not anniversary. It was a 100-year centenary celebrations. Likewise, so I've been continuing with the keynote speaking, and of course, I've been a management consultant. So that's a little about me.
Thank you
And
for that
pleasure,
introduction.
it's a
Why?
pleasure to be with all of you and talk about my favorite subject, that's leadership.
So you've been all around, I think, looking at financials, then crime, the romance, and stuff, right? So you've
I'm
been
experimenting with myself, basically, what I can do.
wonderful, sir. Wonderful, sir. For the benefit of the viewers, can you place this discussion in a context and tell us what is meant by the VUCA world, sir?
Yeah, this VUCA world, the terminology, the acronym was coined by the American military
Okay.
to refer to the post Cold War scenario in the world, particularly the 21st century world. So it's an acronym that stands for V stands for volatility, U stands for uncertainties, C for complexities, and A for ambiguities. That's how they describe this current world situation, which is very volatile. You have day after day technologies, innovations coming up. So one business model completely goes away and is disrupted. It becomes
Mm.
irrelevant. Your skill sets become irrelevant, and then you have to relearn the skill sets. So if you just look at the technology platform, personal messaging, for example, you have SMS, you have FB, you have Twitter, you have whatnot, WhatsApp now, and
Yeah.
tomorrow something else will be coming. So that's so much of volatility is there that you keep on experimenting with new ideas. You never feel secure and stable. That's one thing. Uncertainties, what will happen in the another part of the world that will affect your business,
Mm.
you never know tomorrow. There
Yeah.
could be a Israel Hamas war, there could be USSR and Ukraine war. Tomorrow some other fronts, Houthis may come into play. Likewise, uncertainties are there in the global scene. Then complexity. The issues have become so complex, particularly because of globalization, that it becomes difficult to fathom out what is happening. Imagine an housing crisis in America
Mm.
creates a GFC, global financial crisis, around the world. A small virus emanating from China puts the entire humanity to a standstill. So that's the kind of uncertainty and complexity that we have, and ambiguity. This is something we don't know. Because of these complexities, we don't know what is the cause and effect relationship. So what should I address
Mm.
to ameliorate the situation? Which cause I should address, because causes are so intermingled with each other, and that leads to a decision paralysis. What should I do? For example, let me just give the example of COVID-19. We didn't know what the virus was like, how it was spreading through air, through water, or through touch. We didn't know what kind of medicines we should apply, at what stage of the treatment. But still, the administrators of the country, the doctors of the country had to take very difficult decisions without proper data, without proper study and analysis. They had to take a decision as to whether to create a lockdown or protect livelihood. So that was, and once the decision goes wrong, the leader is always the first egg in the omelette. He has to be fried. So that's
Yeah.
the kind of situation we are all dealing, and somehow this VUCA world is the new normal. There's no going back on that.
Yeah.
So that means that we have to constantly keep on renewing our skill sets, our relevance in the world. Time permitting, sometime later on, I will tell you the story of a Choluteca River in the Honduras.
Hmm.
Let me just take a minute more and tell you about it.
Yes, sir.
Honduras in Central America is a place which is visited by very fierce storms, tempests, and hurricanes. So they had a river Choluteca, a very big river, and
Hmm.
they invited consultants to to build a bridge over the river, a bridge which could withstand the fiercest storms and hurricanes. So in 1996, they gave the tender to a Japanese company. The bridge was ready in 1998, and it was tested just after 4 months in October 1998. And the fiercest of the hurricanes, Mitch, was there. It rained incessantly for 4 days. Bridges were wiped out, roads were wiped out, and it was a very, very difficult situation for the Honduras. But once the rains stopped, you know, the Choluteca bridge was intact.
Okay.
Only difference was that the river Choluteca had turned its course, altered its course. It was no longer flowing under the bridge. So the bridge had lost its relevance. It was going to nowhere. It's a
And
similar situation happening to all of us about our skill sets. We don't know today what kind of a skill sets we should impart to our children so that it is relevant in tomorrow. You don't know today what kind of a technology you should adopt in your company so that you are relevant tomorrow. So that's the kind of a new normal that has happened, and that's what we refer to the VUCA world.
Covered. Okay. How do you define leadership 2.0 and how does it differ from leadership 1.0, sir?
Oh, that's a very good question and very relevant also. See, in this VUCA world, we need a new kind of leadership. And it's very clear that if you continue leading today with the methods of yesterday, you would be out of leadership tomorrow.
Hmm.
So, what is this new leadership? Let's understand. And before that, let's understand what is leadership 1.0. The scientific study of leadership has started in the 19th century, industrial age.
Hmm.
And all the templates, theories of leadership are products of that mindset, worldview. The second thing is, the model was a factory model of the industrial age, where the leader was sitting at the top, giving commands to people down below, and then MIS, the information used to flow from bottom to up, and strategies and instructions were flowing down from top to bottom. So that was the model. And what was the background behind this? It was the Newtonian science, Newtonian worldview that said that objectivity, rationality is the key factor. Everything in the world is a solid which can be measured and responded to accordingly, rectified. Well, now, leadership 2.0 is the product of the quantum physics, which has altered basically the Newtonian physics
Hmm.
worldview. It says that human beings are not only material beings, there is an immaterial aspect to human existence also. So, not only structures matter, but what the humans feelings, emotions also matter. The intuition matters. The perspective matters, and that's how you see this in this world. That people are not prepared to listen to mere logic. They respond by their identities. They respond by their belief systems and all that. So mere objectivity will not be enough. So that being so, leadership 2.0 has to have a different kind of a format. It cannot work on the same lines as leadership 1.0 has been there because it is inadequate and ineffective today. Mind you, the leadership theories started in the industrial age, but today we are in a knowledge economy where situations are completely different. Your subordinates, your followers may be more educated than you. For the legacy leaders, there's a challenge. Digitization has overtaken the workplace environment, while the followers are still digital natives. The leaders, baby boomers, and are still struggling to learn the digital ways of being and doing things. The new values, for example, transparency is unknown to the old leaders. The diversity and inclusion is unknown to the old leaders. They are still struggling to cope up with these things and learn these things. So this this is a new world, and we need a new kind of leadership in this world, and that's what leadership 2.0.
Got the point, sir. I think old ways don't work, is what you are saying in as many as words.
Yes, yes,
And whatever we do changes over a period, and that we need to adopt, is what you are saying,
right,
whether
right,
it is leadership or
right.
technology. And how do you see leaders maintain uh, clarity and direction in
Yeah,
the world full of uncertainty, ambiguity? As you rightly said, if you back to the question, change is happening everywhere, and there is
change is
no,
happening.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's all uncertain, and there is a lot of ambiguity. So
Hmm.
how do you see leaders maintain clarity and direction in the world full of these kind of
That's
challenges?
very relevant, a very relevant question. In my book, The 10X Leader, I have created a framework for this. And that
Hmm.
framework it's an acronym AGILE.
Okay.
So A is for adaptability, being alive and adaptive. G is for great,
Mm-hmm.
I for innovation, L for learning, and E for excellence. We need to cultivate these five qualities, competencies in ourselves to stay relevant and respond to the VUCA world challenges. Now, supposing you are a banker, let me give you an example. You are faced with a daily, what are your daily routine problem? You are talking about net interest margin, you are talking about mortgages, you are talking about managing your customer base, you are outbidding your competition, and all that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
But is that enough for you? I don't believe that it can be enough, because forces unknown to you are nibbling at your portfolio. There are technology companies like Google and others, Uber and others, are getting into banking.
Yeah.
Their cryptocurrency is there, putting a challenge to your this thing, monetary system. All these are going to affect you. So as a banker, and then on the top of it, your own employees. You have four generation of employees working at the moment. You have baby boomers, you have Gen Xers, you have millennials, you have Gen G, all of them coming with different value systems and different aspirations. Their motivation levels are different. So inside your organization and outside your organization, there are challenges full of. So you can't just be managing your core banking operations and then be happy that you will be there. Fine. So you have to basically, it's a you require mindfulness time. That is, you need to be mindful of what is happening within your organization as well as without outside your organization, and that's how you need to take on to the world. Manage your portfolio. The second aspect is you need to keep on scanning the environment continuously. And what you need to do in this world is to have the grit. Now, what is grit? Grit is the passionate pursuit of certain ideas, long term ideas, for a long period of time. If you want to be success in this world, because this world, you have lot of cross currents. You are not in a stable economy that you can peacefully follow your pursue your business. No, there will be a lot of distractions, lot of counter classes. So you need to have developed grit. With a passionate perseverance, you need to follow your passion, you follow your objective, and get the things done. Innovation. Now, we are in a world where every day you have a disruptive innovation. And there are people who are disrupting themselves also. Look at NPCI, for example, National Payments Corporation. How they are disrupting the payment systems in the country. So they have this NEFT earlier, and then they disrupted it by IMPS, IMPS, immediate payment was there. And then Paytm and others came to disrupt it further. Now they have disrupted it with UPI, and they are now disrupting it for UPI also further by making more and more innovations. So we are in a disruptive world. You need to go on disrupting, because disruptions are very painful. Let's be frank about it. They cause you pain. But if the disruption is caused by somebody else, then it's painful for you. If you cause the disruption, then you enjoy you inflict pain on others, and you enjoy it. You can smile. So that is there. Your innovation, you need to be innovative. That's core of it. Learning, as I told you earlier, every day offers you new challenge, and you need to learn. And primary and the learning nature of learning also has changed. You see, earlier you learned at the school and college and practiced at the office, right? No longer so. You learn at the school, college. At the same time, you learn at your workplace also, because every day it gives you a new experience. It's not a stable economy. So you need to intermingle your past experience with the present experience and create the future, right? So that's there. And basically, unless you create excellence in your work, you are not going to stay on for long. And that's why the history of the Fortune 500 company says how many, what is the average length, the time duration of the Fortune 500 companies to remain in the list? Hardly 12 years.
Yeah.
Vision, they run out of excellence. They run out of leadership excellence. So these five criteria, competences, are critical for remaining relevant in the current times, remaining focused on your objective and vision.
Sir, one way that you redefine your vision when chaos disrupt your plans,
Yes,
because you said as many as things when we spoke about NPCI saying that their
yes,
way of looking at banking has changed from NEFT
right.
to IMPS and all these things, right?
Hmm.
Currently we are on the UPI era where
Hmm.
there's a lot of disruption. Now, coming to that point, how do you define the vision? Because you put a very important point saying that how many Fortune 500 companies stay relevant over
Hmm.
so many years,
Yeah.
because they would have started with some vision, right? And how is that vision getting disturbed, or when chaos disrupts the plans that they had as a vision? So your thoughts around it, sir.
See, the vision is the long term statement and goal of the company,
Okay.
right? You must be the most favorite company for the customers.
Hmm.
You quite, you want to have technological excellence and those kind of things. You must want to be most cost effective company. But because of the chaos, your vision shouldn't get impacted or changed because it's a long term aim of the company. What can happen that you remain fixed on the vision, fixated on the vision, but what can happen is that you have to change your strategy, right? Let me illustrate with one example. I'm from the insurance industry, life insurance industry, basically. So in 2001, once liberalization was there, one particular product was introduced, ULIPs, Unit Linked Insurance Plan. So part of the money went for your, if you bought a plan, part of the money went for your risk cover, traditional, and part of it, a greater part of it, went for investing in the stock market. It was running so well, and it needed less money from the promoters. So everybody was on for ULIPs and ULIPs till the global financial crisis of 2008 came, and then the stock markets crashed, and then they realized that people are not paying the renewal premiums, repeat premiums, but they are rather withdrawing because everybody was scared of the stock market fall. And so there were companies for 3 years, their new premium revenues were less than the exits, redemptions. So that was a huge crisis. Now they had to immediately change their strategies. They had to rebalance the product portfolio, get more traditional plans which do not invest in the stock market, and lesser focus on the ULIP products. But then there was a problem. The new generation of agents, except LIC of India, which has a huge agency base, traditional old agency base, the new crop of agents didn't know what the traditional plans were there. So they have to be retrained, they have to be skilled again. So this was a massive work in strategy reorientation. Likewise, persistency has been a major problem in the insurance sector, life insurance sector particularly. You hook a person for 20 years or 30 years, sell him insurance, but he refuses, he stops paying after 2 years, 3 years. So the industry has taken up to data analytics on this and try to identify what kind of customers are there who stop paying premium after 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years. And insights were very revealing. For example, They matched it up with the CIBIL data. And if somebody is not paying for his telephone connection, then he is very unlikely for paying for insurance. Right. Now, this data reality was always there, but insurance had to realize it through data analysis. So, similar strategies need to be done while vision remains fixated mostly, most of the time. Strategies need to change.
Very valid points there, sir. Things are changing, a lot of uncertainty there, and you need to keep focused on the vision. As you rightly said, it is
Right.
long term, right?
Mhm.
Now, now with that changes coming in, so again, there's a lot of topic or discussions that are going around. Are how do we stay empathetic and be very
Yeah.
close to the team? What role does empathy play in managing teams during this kind of crisis or changes in the vision that they have been talking about?
Oh, very, very critical role empathy plays. It's the heart of leadership. And in my book, I have stressed it very much. When you have empathy, when you show empathy, your decision making becomes more humane, more sympathetic, more close to people. And in that case, when you have empathy and people have realized that you are a very empathetic person, you have a human touch to your decisions, then what happens that even if you are forced to take an unpleasant decision, people understand that you are compelled by circumstances to take it. So there's less resistance to that or no resistance, easy acceptance to such decisions. So I will go one step beyond empathy. I will say that we need to bring back humanity to leadership.
Hmm.
And in my book, I have discussed four core values, that is love, joy, peace, and hope. Now, empathy is a part of love. If you have love, then you will address the issues in a different manner. For example, when Amul Cooperative was started by Mr. Korean, it was his love that worked for the farmers, milk farmers, because he eliminated the middlemen by bringing the dairy processing plants closer to the farmers, milk
Partners.
farmers, right? He liaised with government of India and other state governments to get a better price for the farmers. Likewise, he introduced technology. He introduced many scientific research into milk that helped the farmers very well. So that's the way. If you have love in your heart, you do that. Joy. Can you create joy? I mean, in a football match, have you seen that when the striker strikes a goal, he points out to the person who has passed him the ball. And then once the goal is scored, everybody comes in a huddle and there's joy in the entire team. So, can we create such a joy at the workplace? There are methods to do it. Likewise, peace. We live at the workplace, we live in a state of fear. You must have seen the recent Yes Madam case where there was a survey done among employees as to who is the people as to people who are feeling tension at job, right? And those who responded that they were having tension at the job, they were asked to leave and lead a tension-free life. Now, this kind of approach, it creates fear among the employees
Yeah.
rather than peace and hope. Hope is an essential element of leadership. You create hope among people and you create active hope. There's something like a passive hope, that something we keep on hoping that okay, things will change. कुछ हो जाएगा, जमाना बदल जाएगा, हमारी किस्मत भी बदल जाएगी. But no, that's not a leadership stuff. Leadership stuff consists of active hope, that you start doing something, you create a pathway and explain to your followers that okay, we are going, let's go this way and we will have a brighter future. That's creating active hope. So these four compartments, love, joy, peace, and hope are the basic elements of leadership today. We are basically, but what happens is that uh, our workplace practices, often militate against these values. Have you heard that managers being told by their seniors, don't go too close to your employees, your decisions will be impacted? Now,
I've heard about this, sir.
I'm
Yeah.
working against that. That you go closer to the employees, love them, so that they love you back, they love the institution back, and feel like coming to the office on Mondays.
Are any story where empathy transformed a tough leader decision into a successor? Again, I think this question is a common question when we look at all the leadership sessions that we are talking about. And somewhere with what you are seeing as the chaos, what we are talking about,
Hmm.
some story that where you can help us understand a tough leadership decision into a success story.
Okay, let me think back a little. Yes, one story about which is very illustrative about this, how empathy and excellence works. There's a story of this in the US. There's a small company of 200 people. That's Gravity Payments. Its CEO Dan Price was once went out of his office for a smoke break, and then he found another employee there, Haley. He asked Haley, "You seem to be disturbed." And Haley shot back, "You are ripping me off."
Hmm.
Now this CEO was perturbed, because he had always prided himself on treating his employees very well. His company had started in 2004, and it was doing pretty well. But then came the global financial crisis, and everything was down. Credit
Hmm.
card payments were also down. It was a credit card processing company. So transactions were down and debts were mounting. So he put a freeze on the salary wage hike. He was so much scared after the global financial crisis that for 3 years, he didn't increase the wages. And that's why Haley's response was, "You are ripping me off." So he introspected as to why it was so. And so he discovered that he was being unnecessarily careful and cautious with his employees. So from the next year in 2012, for the next 3 years, he gave 20% increase to his employees. And to his surprise, to his pleasant surprise, he found that revenues were still growing up, growing up. So next year, he took another very, very critical decision. He called NBT, he called Washington Post and New York Times, and then announced in their presence that from next year he is going to make everybody's salary, minimum salary, $70,000 per annum. And his own salary he would reduce from 1.1 million to $70,000. Now imagine this change of heart, change of mind, change of perspective. And then company was doing well, but came again the COVID-19 crisis in 2020. Humanity came to a standstill, and so the company started accumulating debts for 1.5 million dollars.
Hmm.
So what happened thereafter? That he called a meeting. The company was facing closure. He called a meeting of all his 200 employees and to discuss layoffs. But to his surprise, the employees voluntarily came with the offer that they will part with their salary to help the company,
Wonderful.
right? And so somebody offered his full salary, somebody 50% and all that. Somebody 5%, 10%, like that. Everybody volunteered. So they were accumulating 5 million, sorry, half $500,000 every month. And the company got some lease of life. Of course, Dan Price, the CEO, paid them back afterwards immediately next year because the company recovered. But look at this. Once
Strategy.
the employees found that the CEO was empathetic, the management had an empathy and love for the employees, they responded back in equal measure, in times of company's crisis. So that's how I feel one example of how a difficult decision, empathic decision, can help the company in difficult times.
Now you told this point where uh, critical support given to teams at the time of flourishing, and when
Yeah.
the company is in trouble, the people from the company are giving them a support. How
Yes.
do you think, or how can leaders in that high pressure industries maintain an approach without compromising results, sir? Because you need to look at that human centric role, right? You
Yeah.
spoke about human centric, but
Yeah.
that is a high pressure situation, right? Without
Yeah.
compromising the results,
Yeah.
he kept the uh, organization intact. Now,
Yeah.
how is that possible? Like, is there a approach that we can talk about on the human centric side?
Yeah. Basically, you need to be humane. What I call the Ubuntu spirit. That's an African terminology,
Hmm.
which means winning together. Right. So our for far too long, competition has meant for us getting past the competitor at any cost. Now this new spirit says that let's compete together and let's cross the mile goalpost together. So when you look at the situation from this angle, then you realize that your strategies have to change. Your leadership strategies have to change. You got to involve the employees in the whole decision making process and operational processes. So you need to train the employees, you need to empower them, you need to delegate responsibilities to them, and at the same time, you need to uh, involve them in decision making. You need to trust them. But more importantly, I'll say that give them a higher purpose. The new generations, particularly the millennials, Gen Next, work for a higher purpose. They are not working for merely money
Yeah.
as such. So it once you align the company with a higher purpose, and you tell your employees also to find share that purpose with themselves, then everybody wants to come on Mondays and contribute to that purpose.
I think
They can fill in the job with their passion.
I think the Monday blues is more to look at the tension of not knowing what to do, and the
Huh.
not getting the right work to be done, or no clarity. I think that's what I try to get in whatever discussions that we are looking at the moment, sir. Uh,
Can I add up this?
yes, sir.
There
Yes.
are two factors.
Yeah.
If you pick up a job voluntarily,
Hmm.
you will give your life and blood for it. There are two modes. One is people work in initiative mode, and the second is compliance mode. So when you pick up a job, a responsibility that I will do this, then you work with all your passion, hard work, and all that. Then Mondays or Fridays don't matter. You want to come to office even on Sundays. But if you are in a compliance mode, your boss has said that do this, then things will be difficult.
Very rightly said, sir. Very rightly said. I think most of the people who are passionate don't look at which day they are working and
Right,
what
exactly.
time they are working on, right? So I
Right,
think
right.
that's what is coming up as a pointer.
Hmm, hmm.
What strategies have helped you build resilience in yourself and the teams you handle, sir?
Basically, I have been trying to be have practice open communication, training, and delegation. And on top of it, I trust people, and people trust me because that's the simple formula. If you trust people, if you extend your trust to people, if if they make a mistake, don't doubt their intentions, don't shout at them, but just try to understand them as to why this mistake was done, and how can they do it better rather than taking it away from them. Give them another chance to do it. So that's the trust. And trust is something which, normally people expect that trust should come from the other side. No, you have to first extend the trust yourself to the other side, and then it will come back to you. So these are the few secrets that I can say. And basically, I try to work with employee centricity.
Okay. So, what is the boldest decision you have made as a leader that paid off?
Yes, stopped being I didn't become the first egg in the omelette. So let me tell you one. I joined this Indo-Japanese startup as the chief operating officer of Star Union Daiichi Life Insurance. And would you believe that we launched the life insurance company across the length and breadth of the country by less than 50 employees? The two big public sector banks were our distributors. And we had a problem that how to communicate to them because banks were our promoters, they were distributors of our products also. So how do you train them? How do you speak to them? What kind of business model? So we need an enterprise-wide communication system which could cover my insurance company as well as the bank to the remotest branch because the sale used to happen at the branch offices. That was a near impossible task.
Okay.
But one small technology tweak helped us. And how it happened, as I said, we always work in customer centricity. So we threw open the question to among the employees, which were from a diverse group of people. Somebody from technology, another from insurance, other next one from private sector, medical, and we got one technology tweak, and we did that, and we could connect all the 5,000 branches of the banks with our head office and as well as our regional offices. We can connect them all together. So for training, you put a training module here and then it gets transmitted to all the 5,000 branches like that. Then we could develop an SOP, a
Mm.
standard operating procedure for that, for our company. Whereas one payment made at any of the remotest branch, immediately the information would come to us, and an SMS will go to the my salesperson that at such and such branch, so much of payment has been made. Collect the proposal papers and come back, send it to us. So that kind of a technology tweak helped us, and it really paid off.
Wonderful. How do you see? We are talking about uncertainty, there is
Yeah,
ambiguity and stuff, right?
yeah.
We also should help people to think in their own say. So, how do we encourage the out of box thinking in your team to tackle unforeseen challenges?
Basically, you need to encourage creativity and innovation in the thing. Normally, people, what happens is that the creative voices are snipped in the companies. It doesn't reach the right people, and so people become reluctant to talk, like offer any new idea. There are two fears. One is that they will be scoffed at.
Mm.
What a joke of an idea. You know, and the second fear is that somebody will steal that idea. Somebody sitting at the higher up will steal that idea and put it as his own. So these are the two fears people don't speak up. But if you give an open atmosphere where new ideas are encouraged and inculcated, as I told you, in my answer to your previous questions, that this technology tweak came out of a wider consultation among the employees as to what could happen because there were regulatory restrictions also. You can't connect the insurance company network with the bank's networks. But a technology tweak helped us do that.
Yeah.
This idea came from a small employee, junior employee, and we worked on that. So that's how you need to. to foster creativity. Mind you, basically, we are all born creative people. We are all born creative.
Exactly, sir. I think most of the time we are not heard about or what people want to tell. You made it as clear as it there.
You ask a question in the office, some irrelevant question, people say, "क्या बकवास की बातें करते हो?" If the child grows up and says something, I'm seeing a horse in the cloud, people will silence him. कि, "यार, ये बच्चे बनते हो क्या?"
Mm,
We are discouraged from using our right brain, which is the center of creativity. And it's all left brain logic analysis and whatnot.
so, what is the simple way leaders can make work feel meaningful for their teams? Because we spoke about hearing and thought and out of the box things. Is
Hmm.
there a way that you can make leaders make the others feel meaningful?
The first thing I would say that, and this is my pet thing, is that encourage them to work in their area of their strength. Right? Recognize the strength of the leaders, connect with them on their area of strength. Basically, we are a deficit based approach we have. When we are schoolboys, we are told to take tuition in the subject in which we are weaker. When we join an organization, the HR department gives you a list of traits, leadership traits, and says in which you are weak, we will expose you to the training in that area. So basically, with a deficit approach, we focus on the weak areas. I'm pleading against it to the contrary, saying that connect in your strong areas, because howsoever you try to you improve your weaknesses, that will come to an average level, right? But leadership needs excellence in some area. If you spend your life trying to be good at everything, you will never be great at anything.
Yeah.
And leadership needs you to be great at something. And when you work in the area of in the zone of your strength, you feel more empowered, you feel more happy, you get better results, you get better rewards. And there have been scientific experiments on this also, where people who started working on their area of strength, they got more rewards, they were surprisingly more healthy, had more income, more they turned out to be more healthy after 25 years. So a couple of experiments have happened in this area also. So first thing I would say, connect with them on their strength, a strength-based approach it should be. Give them a higher purpose, have open communications with them, trust them. These are some of the basic human values that we should bring back to our leadership, which have gone away.
Very, very apt point, sir. Coming to the next step that I want to understand is you are saying leadership traits are not the same when we started our
Yeah,
journey as right, and
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
change on a regular basis.
Hmm.
What trend do you think in leadership will dominate in the next 5 years? And what is your advice for young people aspiring to become leaders in the VUCA era?
Okay, but a very relevant question, particularly the last one, is very, very dear to me, advising the youngsters.
Yeah.
So technology trends, I will just name a couple of them, or few of them. One is that it is going to be adaptive leadership.
Mm.
That has to be in focus. You need to adapt to the situation. You need to learn, unlearn, and relearn new skills and new values. So that has to be there. The second thing is it has to be a human-centric leadership. You can no longer sit at the top and go on giving command and control. It has to be collaborative. You have to, basically the idea of leader follower model has to be junked. In these days of distributed leadership, you need to distribute leadership across the length and breadth of the organization, because the decisions have to be taken at the place, at the point where the customer connect happens. So if somebody is sitting thousands of miles away on the apex of an organization, he can't take all the decisions.
Yeah.
So human-centric decisions, distributed leadership, tech enabled leadership. This is the age of technology, and where technology is providing you a lot of, it's a big leadership enabler. So it has to be a tech enabled leadership, collaborative and distributed leadership, it has to be, and most importantly, sustainability and social responsibility. These are the 4 5 areas where leadership is going to focus on in the next decade or few years. Regarding my advice to youngsters is, first thing is that understand what leadership is. Leadership is different from management. Leadership is influencing somebody to move in a particular direction. Management keeps the status quo and gets the results out of its resources, time, people, right, and quality. But basically, I would say that leaders create a new universe and managers operate them. So if you are at the lower rungs of the organization, but you give the idea of a new product, or you create a process where customer satisfaction gets increased or productivity gets increased, you are showing the leadership talent. So in my company, one of my companies that I worked for, there was a very junior employee, data entry operator, who created a program uh, in Microsoft Access or something, whereby similar fields of different records could be automatically duplicated. Otherwise, every operator was writing those duplicate fields again and again, typing it. This man automated it, so that productivity went up.
Event.
Now, this was the leadership input. So, where at whatever place you are, or at whatever level you are in the organization, start leading. Think about how can you can contribute to the productivity of the company, to giving a new direction to the company. Mind you, you can be at the top of the organization and still be work like a manager, and you can be at the bottom and still work like a leader.
Yeah. It's not about titles, is what you're saying,
About
right?
things. Second thing is be an authentic leader. Don't imitate anybody, howsoever great he is.
Hmm.
People always love the original than and compared to the carbon copy. Howsoever great the copy is, the original is always better.
Yeah, right, sir. You're
Right.
right on that. Yeah.
Authentic. Speak from your values, your beliefs, whatever you believe. Today, you look at India, for example, so long as it was championing the global values, Western values, equality, fraternity, and all that, nobody was listening to it because the West was already talking about these things and they had stamped these ideas as theirs.
Hmm.
But today, if India is talking about Vasudhaiva Kudambakam, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, the world is listening to India.
Yeah.
That these values the world was not aware of. So why what we are talking about? We are talking about our own belief systems. We are talking about our own values, and so the world is listening to us. Uh, Another thing that I will say that develop apart from your IQ and EQ that that are very familiar to and being taught as course materials in management and leadership courses. Develop your AQ and PQ. Now, what is AQ and PQ? You will find it. The AQ is the adversity quotient. For success, it's very necessary today because the situations are such, the world is such that जो आंधी के झोंके हैं वो आपको अपनी जगह से हिला देंगे. You may lose your job. Don't get dissipated by this. Don't get disappointed and frustrated by this. Rise up again.
Yeah.
Find out what skills you have, what skills you need to learn again, and apply those existing skills in the new setup, in the new industry, new way. So your AQ is important, and your PQ, that's political quotient. Now, political is not in the meaning of context of politics, playing politics. You don't play politics. Political quotient means getting to know where is the power center in an organization. When you join an organization, there may be a CEO, but he may not be powerful. There could be another person who really holds the power. If it's a private company, the owner may hold the power. Understand where is the center of power. Try to cultivate the center of power, and then get the decisions in your favor, get the resources in your favor, get a stamp on your strategies from them, from the power centers. This is PQ. Now, PQ is not to be used for harassing your competitors or anything, right? PQ is for betterment of the company, of your own betterment, and all that. And mind you, it's a very competitive world today, but your competition may not be outside in the field, in the market. Your competition may be sitting in the next chamber, in the next cubicle. So that's how you have to think about PQ, how to exercise, get more power, not official power, but unofficial impact, so that your resources that you want, you get allocated to you, your decisions get endorsed by the top management. So this is PQ. Then stay tech savvy. That's very, very important. Focus on continued learning, and in life have a higher purpose for yourself. So these are some of the lessons that I will say that youngsters should learn and adhere to. So that's my word message to the youngsters.
Sir, one question has come up from the audience.
Okay.
I'm bringing it up here.
Hmm.
This is Joy Mohan Mahapatra saying that Dr. Varghese Kurian started helping people to have direct access to milk, eliminating middlemen during the launch of Operations Flood in 1970. Unlike Kurian's model, which was the primary economic and structural, today empathy is often more a personal flex. That's what he's saying.
Yes, it's a very good point. Unless it's a personal flex, unless it becomes a personal attribute, it can't become a corporate attribute.
Yeah.
So once it flows within your heart, then it flows you to the organization and to your followers at the workplace. And so it's having a personal sense of empathy, love, hope, peace, and joy. You can not give to somebody which you don't have yourself. You can only give it to them if you have it in your own heart.
Thank you for that, sir. Sir, I would, with that, we are at the fag end of the hour and top of the time as well. So, I would like to summarize what we discussed overall today, sir.
Yeah.
And we started with the context background of what VUCA is about and why VUCA is a coined term that uh, the Western people brought in here. And we spoke about vision, adaptability, empathy, human centric leadership, resilience and grit, innovation and problem solving skills, cultural transformation and team dynamics is what we spoke about. And then we lastly turned out to trends and what what is going to be the trend for next 5 years, and what is the young team that has to look at leadership going forward is what we spoke about overall on about 15 and 16 questions that we had around the session on these split of topics that we had in terms of discussion today on the topic of leadership 2.0 thriving in the chaos of VUCA world. That's what we discussed, and with this we have come to an end of what we had as a topic with Mr. Pawan today. And thank you for being with us, sir. It's been a great session so far. Great learning. We should look at the books that Mr. Pawan Verma has put around on Amazon. We'll share a link and details onto the uh, event link today after the podcast, so that you can have a look at the books that Mr. Pawan has written. Sir, with this we come to an end. Any last words that you would like to tell before we conclude on the next session, sir?
No, thank you very much, Prem. It's a wonderful experience to be talking to the audience and to you in particular. You are doing a great work and keep on spreading this message that you have so dear to your heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. With,
Goodbye.
yeah, With this, we are streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Hope you found this discussion valuable. Thanks for joining. Our next episode is on the 31st of December, our 190th episode at 6:30 p.m. IST with a new topic. Looking forward to see you again. Bye for now, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. See
Thank
you.
you, and thank you, viewers, very much.